Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna make a simple chicken soup for my son. He is under the weather today, so I'm just gonna quickly whip him up a nice little soup, chicken soup. The ingredients that we'll need today is, for the base of the soup, we will need some squash or pumpkin. In the grocery store, this was actually labeled as Jamaican pumpkin. They also call it calabaza pumpkin. If you can't get Jamaican or calabaza pumpkin, you can basically use any type of pumpkin as long as it has a nice orange color. Sometimes I even go to Whole Foods and I get the frozen one in the deep freezer section. Either one would work fine. Then we will also need our vegetable ingredients. We're gonna have some carrot, some chopped onion, diced carrot, celery. Sometimes people do dice up the celery, but I don't like the way celery tastes cooked, so I'm only adding it for flavor. I'm gonna add 2 stalks cut up into 6 pieces, and I'm actually gonna take them out during the cooking, at some point of the cooking process. And then we'll need some yellow potato. These are all quartered. The really tiny ones, I actually just cut them in half. We will also need some chicken. All right, I love chicken thigh and leg. I had some legs, so I just used these. I actually washed my chicken. I know there's some controversy about washing chicken. I do clean down my sink afterwards, and it's just a cultural thing that we always wash our chicken. And I washed mine with lime, a quarter of a lime. I rinsed it first, and then I squeezed it in some more water and let it soak for like maybe 10 15 minutes, and then I rinsed it again and took the lime out. We will also need some bouillon, chicken bouillon, just one. These do come with MSG, so it's not really a good idea to use too much of it, but I just like to use it to boost and enhance the flavor. Just one, it's not going to kill you. It's not like I eat this every day. We will also need some finely chopped dill and some salt to taste. Now, being that we're already adding bouillon, you want to be very careful not to over salt your soup. I'm gonna taste it before I add any more salt. And then you will also need some water. You need to start with a half a pot of water. This is about maybe 1.5 to 2 quarts. This is about 1.5 of water. So you're gonna get that start boiling, and then make sure that you have a kettle on, boiling with some water in case you need to add more to the pot. All right, so let's begin. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start boiling our squash. I like to leave just a little bit behind. I'm not gonna boil all of them to add to our vegetable ingredients, but the rest of them we're going to boil to as much as possible until they get really tender. And I'm also going to add our onion so we can get those nice and soft. Add as much onion as you can. It's okay if some are left behind. All right. And then we're going to bring this to a boil as much as we can, and then we're going to blend the squash and the onion halfway through, because we want to get them nice and fine, get it nice and soft and fine and blended into the base of the soup. Our soup is at a rolling boil, so now we want to boil it until the squash and the onions are tender. Alright, so these have been boiling for 10 minutes and they are tender, so that when I actually squish it with a spoon or fork, it breaks apart. So what we're going to do next is we're going to blend these with a handheld blender. And while this is still boiling, I'm now gonna add my chicken drums, legs. And now we're gonna boil these legs until they're tender and fall off of the bone. Alright, so these have been boiling for 30 minutes. I'm going to lower the heat just a little bit for a little while. And I'm going to remove the legs into another pot. And as you can see, they have started to fall off of the bone. I'm just going to make sure there aren't any little pieces of chicken left over. Alright. And now I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients, the vegetables. So I'm going to start with celery, potatoes, some of the pumpkin that I left behind, squash that I left behind, some more onion, and the carrots. I'm also going to add the bouillon. Give that a little stir. And while these vegetables are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and start tearing the meat off the legs. And then we're going to bring these back to a medium boil. Alright, so I'm going to start taking the meat off of the chicken legs. I'm going to use a nice big fork, large size fork. And I didn't start working on these right away. I let them cool down because it was really hot, and I wasn't gonna be able to take the meat off dealing with them that hot. So let them cool down for 5 minutes before you start doing this. All right. I actually like eating this part of the chicken bone, cartilage, so I'm gonna tear that off as well. Put that in there. Don't need that. So there's a little bit of cartilage to tear off. vein and fat. All right, so our chicken is ready. Towards the end of once the vegetables are mostly cooked, we're gonna add these back to the pot and then give it a stir along with the dill. Okay, the vegetables have been cooking for about 10 to 15 minutes since I removed the chicken legs. So I'm gonna turn down the stove to the fire to a low flame so that it's easier to work with. I tested one of the potatoes just to make sure that it was tender enough for me to add the chicken legs. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I was gonna remove the celery, but because they're nice big chunky pieces and they can easily be avoided or taken out of a bowl of soup, so I'm just gonna leave them in there. But I am gonna add the chicken pieces back to the pot. Okay, I see one here with a vein. I'm gonna remove this one. Add the rest of them back. And then I'm also going to add the rest of the finely chopped dill. Well, let's start with most of it. I don't want to put all of it. And give that a stir. And this smells really, really good. I think that it can use a little bit more water. But before I do that, I'm just gonna taste it. I'm tasting it to make sure it has enough salt, and it does have quite a bit of salt from that bouillon that we added earlier. So I'm not gonna add any more salt. It also has enough seasoning. It's really well flavored, especially due to the bouillon and the dill, and it's really, really good. So at this point, it's almost done. We just want to get all of the flavors married together. So we're gonna boil this again for another 5 minutes on medium heat, and then it should be ready to serve at that time. We are gonna let it rest for like 5 minutes. Nobody likes super hot soup, so we're gonna let it rest for like 5 minutes and then we'll plate it up, or bowl it up in this case. All right, so our soup has been resting for 5 minutes. I let it boil for 5 minutes with the chicken, and then I let it rest for another 5 minutes because I don't want to serve it too hot. So let's plate this up. And I didn't need to add any more water to it after all. What I love about this soup is not only is it simple, I mean there are a few steps I have to admit, but the ingredients are very simple, and I love that there's a lot of chicken added to it. It's very hearty, it's delicious, it's deboned, and I'm gonna enjoy this. This tasted really good. I think my son is gonna enjoy it too, and I hope you all enjoy it as well. If you liked this recipe, please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, take